Let's cut through a lot of the lawyerly talk and go to exactly what happened, which is basically Trump is threatening the Federal Reserve chair with jail time. When was the last time you saw the Department of Justice go after someone for lying to the Senate? People lie in front of the Senate all day, every day, and everything that Powell said in front of the Senate was a matter of public record, and no one has yet found a lie.
Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. Get
Oh,
your Canadian
yeah.
federal politics right here. Smash the like, hit subscribe.
Republicans are accusing the Trump administration of undermining the Fed's independence. Today, the White House press secretary came to Donald Trump's defense by trying to separate his attacks from this investigation.
Look, the president has every right to criticize the Fed chair. He has a First Amendment right, just like all of you do. And one thing for sure, the president's made it quite clear, is Jerome Powell is bad at his job. As for whether or not Jerome Powell is a criminal, that's an answer the Department of Justice is going to have to find out, and it looks like they intend to find that out.
Does he believe in the independence of the Fed, Caroline?
He has, and he's said that many times.
For more on this, we've reached Justin Wolfers. He is a professor of public policy and economics at the University of Michigan and a senior fellow at the Brookings Institute. Professor Wolfers, good to see you again. Thank you for being here, sir.
A pleasure.
I was trying to focus on football on Sunday, and then I saw the video from Jerome Powell on my phone, and my jaw dropped that the chairman of the Federal Reserve saying he's being charged because he won't set interest rates to satisfy the president. How extraordinary is a statement like this?
Mate, it's extraordinary enough you should have stopped watching football. I'm not going to say it's unheard of. It's unheard of in the United States. And let's cut through a lot of the lawyerly talk and go to exactly what happened, which is basically Trump is threatening the Federal Reserve chair with jail time. And he's doing that because the Federal Reserve chair has been doing exactly what Congress has asked him to do, which is managing monetary policy, setting interest rates in a way that serves the interests of the American people rather than the narrow political interests of the president. We've never had something like that in the United States. Now, let me also put it in the broader context. Yes, this has happened in the world before, that a political leader has threatened the governor of the central bank with criminal charges. That's happened in Argentina. It's happening in Venezuela. It's happened in Russia. It's happened in Zimbabwe. And now the United States proudly gets to join that club of economic success stories.
The investigation, it centers on whether Jerome Powell lied to Congress over the renovation of the new headquarters they're building. Now, if cost overruns were a criminal offense, there wouldn't be a politician in the Western world who wasn't in jail. So how substantive do these allegations appear to be that it was dishonest and deceitful?
The answer here is to not even talk about them. They're nonsense on their face. It's a pretext. Everyone understands it's a pretext. When was the last time you saw the Department of Justice go after someone for lying to the Senate? People lie in front of the Senate all day, every day, and everything that Powell said in front of the Senate was a matter of public record, and no one has yet found a lie. Let's not pretend this is anything other than the president threatening to jail the chair of the Federal Reserve Board, but finding just a clever enough way that the media have to report it as if something else is going on.
Do you think that's what's happening, though? I mean, the coverage seems to be, in my read of it, largely in line with kind of what you're saying, that this isn't a... I mean, Jerome Powell has two mandates, right? Price stability and maximize employment and set interest rates based on those targets, based on the economic data. And now it's basically a pressure job for the president, who's gone after members of the board of the Federal Reserve and stripped away some of their ability through executive order to regulate Wall Street, if I'm remembering it correctly. Do you think people are seeing it as, well, maybe he did something wrong, or this is another example of the state being used to target enemies?
Oh, there's not a person alive who's outside of the White House who believes this is anything other than using the machinery of government to try to bully the Federal Reserve chair. There's an important note here which has made it really easy to tell. The Department of Justice didn't go public with this. The Department of Justice subpoenaed the Federal Reserve Board. And at that point, Jay Powell decided that the general public deserved to hear what it was the Trump White House was trying to do under the veil of, or in the darkness.
Right.
So Powell told his story, and we've heard his story. And that story is one that says the White House is threatening to jail the Fed chair.
Well, it continues this pattern that we've seen with the former FBI director, James Comey, with the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, who were charged but had those charges thrown out by judges. And, you know, in the normal course of law enforcement, as a crime has been committed and then the hunt begins for the suspect, what seems to be happening now is they're given the suspect and then the hunt begins for a crime.
Just a reminder, gang, smash the like, hit subscribe. We work really hard at this stuff. Let's get back to the video.
It is the inversion of how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, this is the Department of Justice, which used to be an independent agency that was meant to serve the interests of justice, becoming a Department of Injustice, the Department of Vengeance, of doing the president's bidding, of lawfare, of using the law to try and intimidate individuals. And I want folks at home to think for a moment what it feels like to open a letter that says we're thinking about criminal charges against you. Now, Powell may know that he's got the law on his side, but by jingo, I wouldn't want to be going up against the White House. And by jingo, if it was my freedom on the line, it would cause me to have a few breaths that were a little bit out of order. So this is just a brutal form of bullying and intimidation.
Yeah, it can cost you a lot of time, a lot of stress, a lot of money, as you have to hire legal counsel to look after your own interests. But, you know, while this sort of personal grudge, as it seems to be, kind of plays out, there are real world implications here, right? In terms of market stability, economic stability. The countries you've mentioned where this has happened, not exactly paragons of institutional stability and economic growth and steadiness. I mean, what are the potential consequences here? Because the markets kind of are up and down throughout the day. How do you see the medium, short-term consequence of this kind of news?
Well, look, the question is whether Trump follows through. If he does, this is the stuff of tin pot dictators. And if he doesn't, this is the stuff of childish wannabe dictators. If he does, what we have is a strongman, populist, taking over the reins of the central bank in order to implement his own idiosyncratic ideas that are at odds with mainstream economics or any experts around him. If you want to know what that looks like, we've had that exact play out recently in Turkey, where a populist strongman with his own idiosyncratic ideas about economics undermined the independence of the Turkish central bank. Inflation in Turkey went from fairly normal single-digit rates up to as high as 80%, and it's still in the mid-30s right now. The stakes here for the United States are incredibly high. People might say it couldn't happen here. They used to say that in Turkey as well.
Well, there's been a lot of that being said about recent events in the United States, Professor Wolfers. I wonder, Tom Tillis, one of several Republican senators out there, he's condemned this investigation, says he'll oppose any replacement nominee. Lisa Murkowski, the senator from Alaska, has called this flat-out coercion by the Justice Department. Does that give a level of political protection to Jerome Powell here, do you think, or is he still acutely vulnerable, even with Republicans breaking ranks with the president on this one?
Look, it's not Powell that we particularly care about at this moment. Chair Powell's term ends in April. What we care about, or May, what we care about is the future of American monetary policy. Will it be in the best interest of the American people, or will it be taken over by the White House? It's good to hear that there are 2 Republican senators who think it's a bad idea for the president to unilaterally steal a power that Congress gave to the independent Fed. But there's still a whole lot more Republican senators who are missing or who are quiet right now. And, you know, now's a moment for courage. And the thing that Powell did, and he did so effectively, is he talked directly to the American people. He's taking his case directly out there and saying, is this how you want monetary policy run? And let me just have fun with you for a moment. We've had 2 people really show some genuine courage in the face of the president, and both of them are economists. Of course, I'm thinking about your own Mark Carney, and now I'm thinking about Jay Powell. And I just love to see folks from my tribe showing a little bit of spine, and hopefully they can show the sort of leadership that the business community has completely refused to show.
I've never done any graduate level economics. Is that part of the curriculum that you teach people how to do this? Is this part of the syllabus in master's level theory, or how does it work?
Spine and vertebra 101. Look, it's as simple as this. You become an economist because you believe in something. You want to make the world a better place, and you devote your life to that. And to see a charlatan and a clown come along and undermine the institutions that you think are the basis of prosperity, it chills you to the bone. And so, look, we don't teach it, but all sorts of people out there in our society have very strong beliefs and want to see prosperity continue.
But you know, just as a final point, Professor, Jerome Powell may have the courage and the strength to resist this, but as you say, his term expires rather soon. There's no guarantee whoever comes next can or will. So where does that leave the integrity of U.S. monetary policy and sort of what sort of a vulnerability does that leave for the economy over the next 12 months?
It's intensely vulnerable. It's not about the next 3 months. It's about the next 30 years. The question is, are we going to allow the president to appoint a successor to Powell in May who is a toady who will simply do what the White House demands? The president has actually said as a threshold, he will only appoint someone who will reduce interest rates the way that he demands. So the pressure now is all about either the president could wake up and decide he wants to run the economy in the best interest of the American people, or the Senate can hold his feet to the fire and refuse to confirm a Trump toady. And so it's really just doubled, tripled, quadrupled the stakes around that next appointment.
Justin Wolfers, Professor of Public Policy and Economics at the University of Michigan. Good to have you on the show again today, sir. Thanks for being here.
A pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics. My name's Aaron, this is Canadian Looney. We're going to wrap it up. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a comment below. Check out this playlist, check out this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Aaron at Canadian Looney. Ciao for now. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks again for watching. We're out.